Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 30 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. We are picking up right where we left off. You can see I've been sort of digging down and clearing myself a little bit of an area, because just like with our tree farm, we need to set up some blocks. I've gone ahead and made myself a cargo manager and a distributor. So pretty much we're just going to place these. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put my distributor here and my cargo manager on top. There we go. That way our cart will be able to interface here, and then we'll be able to manage all of our stuff coming out down here. So one thing that we need to make sure that we're doing is our cart, whenever it's done, has a hydrator on it, and for that to work it's going to need some kind of water source. And for that purpose I've made myself an aqueous accumulator and a liquid transposer. So I'm just going to get this thing set up just like this. Let's see. This is our transposer. I want to put it there or one down. We want to put it. Well, this might work. We'll try it there, and if we have to move anything later, we can do that. So I'm just going to put this here and this here, just so that we can get water down. Get the aqueous accumulator working. Now obviously we're going to need buildcraft power for our liquid transposer, but that's not a problem because we literally have a line not a foot away. So, and of course I'm stuck in here. There we go. We'll just go the long way around. Oh geez, boots bugged out a little bit, I think. Okay, so there we go. Aqueous accumulator is functioning. And that should basically, if we're going to our, we want water to come in here. Cool. So, we're probably going to have our buckets coming out the top and probably coming in through the side. That works. Cool. So, that done, let's grab ourselves a diamond pipe here. And we'll fix that here in a little bit. And a wooden pipe here. And let's go golden pipe. Rather, trying to think about how I want to set this up so it's as compact as possible. This might look a little strange at the moment, but I promise I do actually have a method to my madness here. Got another pipe there, and we'll just put a stone pipe right there, and we'll actually have it come in on this side. That way we don't need another diamond pipe. That way we can just use one diamond pipe. Cool. Okay, so yeah. So let's take a look at our manager here, our cargo manager. We're gonna need to set up, let's see here, what are our options? We want water buckets coming in up here, and I think we want this to be, each color has its own slots. Each side has its own slots, might be better. But let's see here. What side are we coming in on that side, the yellow? So I think we're going to want these to be yellow. This one can be black. We don't really need to worry about that. Cool. So, flip that around. There we go. So we're going to have water coming into this system, right? And we're going to have one socket here for dealing with putting the water in and one for getting it out again. So let's see here. Let's go into our cargo distributor. Our cargo distributor, our bottom side is purple, so we're going to want the top right to be there. Yes. And then we're going to want the green side to be bottom right. That way the purple side will interface with up here, and the green side will interface with down here. Excellent. So this should, I might have to adjust this. I might be derping a little bit, but we'll see here in just a minute. Okay, where did our, okay, it went in there. Cool. Alright, so the idea is that this is going to send water buckets up through the full water buckets up through the black, and it's going to send empty water buckets back through the system and down. So I think we're going to have to make ourselves a couple more buckets, but we're going to have, actually no, it'll work like this. Basically we'll only allow empty buckets to come through the green and yellow side. That way when they come out the side here, they'll just zip right through the diamond pipe and not interfere with anything. And then they'll go down into our liquid transposer, where hopefully it'll get filled with a bucket of water. So let's go ahead and hook up our transposer to power. And we should be able to do that right about here. We can probably just hook it up right there. And that should start getting power. Cool. So if I go ahead and stick our bucket in there, it'll fill, and it should, I think it might have already, yeah, it already zipped up into here. So, cool, that's what we want. Now I'm going to pull this out just to help make sure that everything, we shouldn't need to set it up like this. We should be fine, but just to be safe, whoop, I'm going to hurl my bags around. I'm going to set full buckets can only go black and white. So we basically have made an intersection where only empty buckets can pass through and only full buckets can go up. So that done, basically this, at least this part where it's filling buckets, should be working. So if I were to, for example, put an autarkic gate here and tell it to energy pulse when there's no redstone signal, which should be all the time. I'm just going to make another bucket real fast. It's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Actually, there we go. We'll just make ourselves another bucket real quick, an empty bucket. And we're going to stick that right there. And what should happen is it should get pulled out, sent along the pipes, through there, into our transposer, which will fill it. And then it should zip up through our cargo manager and end up there. Cool. That's exactly what we want. So, yeah, I think this is working the way we want it. So, cool. Because the empty bucket that winds up in the cart, briefly, will then fall back in the cargo manager. Cool. So we got that part of it set up. And just in time too, as it's starting to turn night. So let me sleep through the night and I'll be back. So I just came in to check on our cart, and as you guys can see, it is done. So we're going to pull it out of our cart assembler and take it with us. That way we can get this thing put down, and hopefully I've done everything right to get this thing to do everything we need it to. So let's check it out. Alright, so just gonna slap it down like so. That looks impressive, right? Right now, it's going to have quite a bit of various things, and I'm going to set the solar engine to high priority and going to set the coal engine to low priority. Whoops. Thing got away. You can see this thing is going off on its own. Basically this way, the carts are smart enough with the priority system to only use an engine that is on a lower priority if it doesn't have power on its high priority. So yeah, so this thing is going about its merry way, and obviously right now it doesn't have any seeds in it, so it's just sort of tilling the soil, and well, there's not really much else it can do because it doesn't have any fertilizer, nor does it have any water in it. But as you can see, once it came to our manager here, it picked up a bucket. That bucket's getting put back into the transposer, and we should wind up with a full bucket up here. So let's watch it for just a second, just to make sure everything is running properly. Shouldn't still be down here. There it is, sitting right here, waiting to waiting for the cart to come back. And you can see it's as this thing is going, it's going ahead and hydrating the ground that it tills. Cool. And it shouldn't actually use too much of its water. It should, I think a bucket will probably be just enough to keep it going. So, the other thing I want to do is I want to get some coal and put it in its coal engine. Again, that's just to make sure that it'll always have power. Realistically, it should always run on the solar engine, but with the coal engine in there, we're pretty much giving it a backup, just in case it's needed. So the last thing this thing really needs is some fertilizer. Should be good. It'll chew through bone meal real fast and put it in its internal buffer. And it's not bad. It's going to need a lot of bone meal. But other than that, we just need to find ourselves some seeds, which hopefully we've got. I got a couple in here. God, only 13. Yeah, this is why we're doing this, because this thing is cool, but it's not very fast. So I'm just going to take these couple seeds. You can see there's not much that this machine can do at the moment, but if I put seeds in, it should be good, and it'll start planting. Cool. Excellent. So this thing is working pretty much perfectly right now. It's going to need a lot more seeds to be able to work sort of to its fullest, but with the fertilizer in there, it's really going to be able to produce a lot of material really fast, which is what we want. I think what I'll probably do is replace the ground here, just because, well, just for sake of making it look similar as to how we have it over on the other side. So I'm going to clear this part, and we'll leave it everywhere else. Okay. Thinking what we're going to want to do is all of its storage should go into the cargo manager. That way everything it's harvesting will go straight in here. Now hopefully this will produce enough seeds that it'll fill its seed capacitor, and all the other seeds will wind up in the internal chest. That is my hope. Might not turn out that way. We might have to sort of mess around with it a little more and sort of trick it into doing what we want, but we'll just have to see how that goes when we cross that bridge. It's got plenty of water. Perfect. You can see the hydration levels there. It's using up quite a bit of fertilizer, but that's okay too. So this thing is almost completely running. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the wild and collect some more seeds, because obviously we're not getting too many. So I'm going to do that off camera, and hopefully when I come back I'll have enough to see it so we can really see this thing in action. So just like we did over there, we're going to set up basically a system over on this to start pulling out our wheat and our seeds. So let's see here, we want it to pull from the top left and probably the bottom left as well. So let's put that on red, because we're going to set the filter up right here, right up against our cargo distributor, just like that. But then we got to flip it around. So let me grab our sonic screwdriver, and it should be like that. Yes. And we're just going to dig our way down here. I made myself quite a few more pneumatic tubes here, so that should do the trick for us. Okay. How do we want to, let's see, how do we want to run this? Definitely going to need to set up a timer to make it tick as usual. That might be a little tricky. Let's see how to best do this. Yeah, this actually might be a little tricky. Because we can't... We might be able to pass a redstone signal through the block it's next to. That means we're gonna need... one of the red jacketed wiring. So let's grab some of that and see if we can't get that set up right. should have still plenty of that lying here. Oh, we're actually starting to run a little bit low. And a bit of wiring as well. Alright, so let's see here. We shouldn't have to worry too much about this, but I'm just going to be a little extra careful. Yeah, because fair certain we won't be able to actually put track over that. And our cart here is now upset at us. Maybe I can get out of the way. Get. Come on, get out of my way. Alright, let me just get this thing out of the way. Oh, I'll just break it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's put it back down so it can do its thing. And we'll do this from the inside instead of trying to mess with it from the outside. That way we don't mess up our cart again. So, let's see here. Now, I'm actually thinking this probably won't work. So, we're going to have to try something a little different. And that is, we're going to have to turn these into redstone pneumatic tubes. And hopefully that will do the trick. It should do the trick. So, we don't have any redstone on us just yet, so let's run and grab some of that. All over the place as usual. I should point out our quarry finally hit bedrock, so I haven't moved it yet because I figure we have tons and tons of stuff here. Why not make use of it before we go to all the trouble of going to get more? Alright, so I'm not actually sure exactly how much of this we're going to need to actually be redstone tubing. Probably not much. I would probably say something like this should do the trick. So let's see. We'll put our timer here, and a bit of alloy wiring with one of you. That should do it. Let's see. Whoop. So we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4 total to be redstone tubing. Okay, and that should hook up right up to our filter and cause it to tick. Perfect. And what I want to do is actually tell it to filter out, to go ahead and pull seeds and wheat. And of course it's starting to get night. We don't seem to have any wheat in here. Whoop. There we go. Make sure to add wheat to this thing. That way it doesn't accidentally pull something random. I don't think that'll be a big issue, but I like to play it safe rather than sorry. So let's see here. Where are we coming up through the wall? We're going to be running it over here to our... I don't seem to have a axe anymore. We're just going to run it up here to these barrels like we did over in our green factory. So I just got to figure out exactly where this is coming up, and I'm thinking probably having it come up right here. Yeah, that'll do. So we should just be able to run it like so. And actually we can probably go ahead and run it out and then not have to worry about this piece here. Cool. So yeah, alright, so now all we really have to do is cover this up a little bit. Remember how we did it here. Okay, and of course we'll have to cover those up with covers here in a little bit, but that can wait. I think the best thing to do is run it like so. I know you guys are probably gonna be yelling at your screens if I don't mine this out, so I'll go ahead and do that. All for you. So the second that hooks up, we should start getting some movement. And there goes the wheat. The question is it going to pull seeds? It should be. Can I get back in here? Oh, apparently not. Can I reach? Hey, I can reach from here. That's mighty convenient. So it probably will pull, I'm assuming it's going to pull from the top left first, and then it's going to try to pull the seeds out. So if we go upstairs, this stuff should be landing in our barrels, and our wheat should be here. I actually think what I'll probably do is this. Kind of want our wheat over here. And to make sure that it does that, I should probably grab a bit of seeds. Should have some in here. I'm hoping not to get jumped by a monster of some kind while we're messing around. There we go. So our wheat should go well over here. Cool. So that done, I'm definitely probably going to need to, I'm going to sleep through the night because we need to look around and check upstairs and be outside while doing it. So let me do that. Okay, back to it being day. I'm going to kind of look around, make sure we're not going to get jumped by a creeper at any moment while we're covering up this stuff. I just made myself some covers, no big deal. Pretty much just stuff we're used to. And we're going to use our wood covers up here too to make it look good. No one's ever going to know, I promise. Okay, so where'd our marble covers go? Whoop, that wasn't what I wanted to put there. I wanted the marble cover, please. There we go. And hopefully we should be getting seeds in here pretty soon. I'm a little worried that they're not coming yet, but hopefully it's just a matter of what's wrong with you? Whoop. And we're being shot at by a skeleton. Trying to figure out what our farmer here is doing. Whoop. Get back here. Oh, come on, get back here. This thing's just toying with me now. Okay, skeleton. Unfortunately, I don't even have a sword on me because it finally broke. I'll just hide from him. It'll be fine. We've got whole loads of wheat hopefully coming out of here. I don't really like the fact it seems to be coming out one at a time. I think what I'm going to do is off camera I'm going to go underground and see if I can't fix that to make it pull out a stack at a time. Okay, there you go. Put a stack in the filter and it'll pull out whole stacks. So finally got through all the wheat that had piled up in there and is now pulling seeds. Cool. We can actually fix that again later because as this stuff is set up, we don't really need to be pulling out stacks at a time, but obviously right now it's a little bit of an issue. So now that we're accumulating seeds in here, we can basically use the same sort of trick that we did with managers to make biogas, and we're probably going to use those to keep seeds here in this squeezer. because this squeezer is pretty much solely, its sole purpose is for these seeds that we're getting. Took a little while to get this thing sort of going to full speed, but you can see it's producing quite a bit of seeds, so that is good. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull them manually, just because we know that the system is working now, so we don't necessarily need to be pulling whole stacks. So yeah, I'm going to make it go back to pulling wheat at one at a time. So the next step, like I said, to this is pretty much just going to be I'm going to make, I think, two managers, and when I have those made, I'll be back. Alright, so just in case you guys don't remember how to make the managers, I'll go ahead and make one on camera. So it's a pretty lengthy process, but we've got a bunch of plans that'll help us out. So I'm just pretty much going through the motions here of getting our various parts for our manager. You can see we got our sorting machine. So now we need to get our regulator put together. And that's actually going to take a bit more iron. And sort of slowly, been only making as many bars as we really need. Where'd our buffer go? There it is. We're going to need 2 of those. And item detector. Looks like we need a little bit of brass, which I've got some cooking up over here. There we go, item detector. And finally, combine that into a regulator. Then combine those 2 machines to get our manager. Cool. So there we go. A couple managers good to go. Now, we're probably going to need to set up some kind of separate red power generation. Mostly because we kind of are a little bit far from just hooking up to our system over there. So it's probably going to require a bat box just to be on the safe side, and probably want to grab, we have plenty of materials as you guys can see, so it shouldn't be an issue. So we'll need a bit of copper and a bit of tin. I'm going to put our patterns away here. Free up a little bit of space. A bit of tin. Come on. A good bit of nickelite. And some wood should do the trick. And we have a fair amount in here anyway, so pretty simple. Hopefully you guys will know right away what I'm about to do. We're going to need a lot more copper and tin than that. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I try to remember how to make this thing, I want to say it's blue alloy, iron, and then a bit of wood. Which apparently we used all of it. I know we technically have a sawmill, and so could make more wood planks out of that, but we have at this point so much that I'm not too worried about it. And I'm going to sleep through the night. Alright, so I'm back, and I've dug out a little bit of an area. I'm just going to slap our battery box right here. And of course we're going to need a cover, because our tubes are going to try to be a little finicky, but that should work out just fine. So, let's see here. We definitely want to put one of our managers right here on the bottom of our seat, because as you recall, things have to come out of a barrel on the bottom. So, from there, we should just be able to do something like this, because we can just hook up the tubing up through here. And don't imagine I have any iron to make a restriction tube out of. Let me grab that real quick. I'm hoping to get this all pretty well set up. That way we can really get our bees going at a sort of full pace. Because right now they're kind of lagging simply because we just don't quite have the bee resources yet to really start to automate them, and that's sort of my goal at this point, is to automate that bee production. So come on, go in the hole. Grab our restriction tube. That should be fine. And need another cover, because we don't want stuff to try to go into the back of this manager here. So let's spin you around. That should do it. Cool. So now all we really need to do is hook up some bluetricity power, which should be fairly simple. Simple matter of like so. Should hook this thing up. Obviously we don't have any power hooked up to the battery yet, but that will be fixed in due time. It's going to be a little messy down here, I think, but now the next trick is going to be setting up a manager on this machine. Now I'm honestly not sure. We're going to have to do some testing around with it, because I'm not sure which side it's going to want to pump in from. We'll try it from the top first and see if that works. Sometimes these things can be a little bit finicky, so you gotta be careful about it. I'm going to use the wood plank covers there, just because I think it looks good. So, whoop. And we're going to want a wood cover there too, because we want this to run down underground again. Cool. Hopefully this stuff will be able to work our way around it. I'm not going to hold my breath. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Little bit. The downside of having all sorts of wacky wiring and stuff is it kind of gets a little bit crazy sometimes, but hopefully this will work. Do we have... I'm trying to remember. We do. There we go. That should fix it. And then we can just... We'll need a cover there, obviously, but that's not a big deal. Cool. So there we go. So it looks a little messy at the moment, and like I said, there might be some rearranging needing to be done depending on how this manager wants to try to put stuff into it and make sure we get it in the right side. But all in all, trying to jump up here is not exactly working very well. Okay, I'll stop trying. We'll just go over here. Yeah, running this bluetricity line is going to be interesting. By interesting, I mean difficult, because there's all sorts of messy stuff all over the place here. Let's run it up here for now. Mostly I just want to be able to get this working and be able to test it before anything else. So that part done. We're going to need a couple of our solar panels. I didn't mean to do that. 4 should do the trick. It's probably way more than we need, but we have tons of these resources, so I'm not too worried about using them up. Now, will this just let us... It should be clear line of sight to the sky, and that should be hooking up. So it looks like it's powering up. Cool. I was a little worried it was starting to get night, but I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was becoming night. I honestly don't. So it looks like our stuff's powering up. Of course we want to... I'm going to set these to yellow. Why? Because seed oil is yellow, and that makes a certain amount of sense to me. And of course we'll set our manager to 1, and we want to definitely try to keep... we want to try to keep 1 stack in there. That shouldn't be too difficult. it's going to use up a lot of seeds really quick, so just keep that in mind. And how did we set it up on the other side? That is the question. So I almost forgotten how we... Actually, I did forget how we set up this manager. Okay, so just any number of that. Cool. On the plus side, since we only have one thing that we're trying to keep supplied in here, we shouldn't have too many issues with this getting a little upset. So give it just a minute to charge up. I'm gonna let it charge up, and then I'll be back once things start moving and we can see how we need to adjust this. Okay, didn't take much longer, but as you guys can see, trying to put it in the top slot put it here. So that's obviously not going to work. So let's try something different. Let's see what happens if we put it in the side here. I'm hoping that one of these setups will work for us. And just like before, obviously this is going to get really complex really fast. Probably going to be forced to adjust quite a bit down here because of how much of a tangled mess we've got ourselves into. Maybe not. It might actually not be nearly as bad as I thought. Let's put some covers down, and that will help. That will help that a little bit. So let's see here. We could run it just back like so. And cover, of course. That's probably temporary. And run this, just break this here. Okay. And again, we're going to have to move all of this just to deal with all of these problems, but I think this is going to work pretty well. So up into the back, and then of course a cover there. And we shouldn't need this one. Cool. And from there we can just run this around. Where do our redstone energy cells go? 1, 2, and 3. That should do it. Looks a little crazy, but hopefully that did the trick. A lot of trial and error, sure. That's to be expected, though. So let's give this thing power. And just like before, I'm going to set it up, and as soon as this thing... Oh, wow, that didn't take long at all. Hopefully now, you can see it's pulling seeds out, going into the manager, and it's getting put on the right side of the squeezer. Excellent. And the squeezer is running. Cool. So there we go. We have an automatic system for pulling seeds out of our barrel here. So cool. So I'm just going to clean this up off camera, and then I'll be back. Alright, so with our automatic seed gathering and squeezing system set up, unfortunately I think this is about where we need to call this episode. So stay tuned for next episode. We're probably going to get a little bit more into these bees. I'm going to keep trying to breed them, see if I can get some new cool stuff. And I don't know, we'll see what else we get into. But until then, this has been episode 30 of my Season 2 FTB Modpack Let's Play. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and stay tuned for next episode. Catch you guys later.